Hello, darlings. Hi, it's Inflammable. And today we're doing chapter 6 of Deeper Water, which is called The Offer. But firstly, I just wanted to rant for a few minutes, as I do. So I dedicated a good 45 minutes of my life this morning to try to scour the internet and Facebook for Craig-looking lifeguards that were actually hot, because I'm like, they have to be out there. Like, I'm going to strike a gold mine surely. 45 minutes, plenty of time. So I just want to share my disappointment. Oh my God, you're not going to believe. Okay, so this is probably the best I got, was this dude that's like, like a mile away. Because this is sort of how I pictured him coming out to the shore and putting the flags down in the early chapters. This is how I pictured the sunset to look. On the topic of the sun, my son is standing beside me. Hi, what do you want? Nothing, apparently. He's gone back to watch One Piece. Okay. So, yeah, that was disappointing. And then I found, this is off topic from the lifeguard situation, but this is exactly how I pictured the science centre to look on the beach. Like, I know that's really far away, but I kind of pictured the headland over here and, Tweek walks around and then, there's this big white building, and that's kind of what I envisioned, and, for it to be, built up a bit with some apartment buildings and things. So, that's all right. Anyway, you would have heard of the Bondi rescue people here in Australia, and I thought, surely, come on. So I went through their Facebook page, and so disappointing. So this is the kind of crap that, I mean, what? And then, like, what? What is this? I had to show you because I laughed, and that's funny. Like, you're promoting washing machines, front loader washing machines on the beach, something to do with them being eco-friendly. I don't care. I just want to look at hot lifeguards. God. Anyway. Kept looking, looked at some overseas lifeguard Facebook pages, didn't get anywhere. Found this guy, though. This was funny. This kind of reminds me of something that Kenny would do, but like, it's a blurred out kind of picture, but maybe that's Craig. I don't know. But anyway, disappointing stuff, guys. Really depressing. Anyway, so we'll read some, work that I've done. I've got my candles lit on my desk, very Pastor Craig vibe. I don't have 16 of them like he does. I've just got the 2. Got my wine. Right, let's do this. Okay, let's go back to my tab. All right. Oh, wait, sorry. I got to share something else. Hang on. No, it's just easier if I show it. Shit. Okay. This is so funny to me. And a Rocky made this, and this is Snowball from Oxford Comma, and then these little dogs that she's drawn the little, chulo and the hair on. And I love it so much that I actually laminated it and printed it out and put it on my shelf above my desk. So now I can just look at it while I'm writing my stories or doing nonsense. So that's pretty cool. And, thank you for making it. Okay. Let me read stuff now because I don't want to rant for too long. Actually, I'm going to rant for 1 more minute. So I'm going to try and say this in 1 minute. So let me just set a timer. I should have set the timer before I started the video. Sorry. But I'm trying to get through some of these chapters to get to chapter 10, which is a smut chapter. And I'm not trying to rush the smut. Like, there's a method to the madness. But let me just explain it in 1 minute. And I'm going to put a timer on. Okay, stopwatch, reset. Okay. So if anyone's read Life in the Fast Lane, Love in the Fast Lane, I can't even say my own thick name. I did a smut chapter towards the end in the car garage, and I was getting a consensus of what footwear Tweek would wear if he's washing a car and trying to be all sexy and stuff. We went with the gladiator shoes or sandals that Nami would wear out of one piece. And then we got onto this topic of Craig wearing Crocs that look like Lightning McQueen, and I just every time I look, I crack up. I can't help it. It's funny as fuck. Oh my god, I've always used my minute. Anyway, so the dealio is that this troublemaker online that I've mentioned before is going to apparently write this version of that chapter where Craig is wearing these Crocs. And it's going to be like a funny version of the smut that I wrote. And I've agreed to read it out online and try not to laugh. But I'm going to oh my God, I'm not going to be able to cope. Like, I'm just going to laugh the whole time. Anyway, so I'm trying to get to these videos and me reading out my smut on this as the first time I've ever read out smut on over audio before she writes that, because I want to practice before I have to commit to reading that and Craig in those Crocs out loud. And I don't know what she's going to write, so I'm actually a little bit scared. Okay, that was 1:45. That was too much time. I'm going to put up a picture of the... Yeah, okay, let's go. Okay, chapter 6, the offer. Oh, God, I have to calm down. Sorry, I'm thinking of those fucking Crocs. Okay. Red and black. That was the first observation Tweek made behind his eyelids once he returned to consciousness. The next thing he registered was that he was shivering, cold, like he was in a deep, dark tank of icy water floating aimlessly. But he wasn't moving. The ground beneath him felt solid, and this confused his mind. There was a weight on his chest, another weighted sensation on his shoulder. Round and round. His stomach lurched. Then moments later, he could hear snippets of voices that were close by, breathing. What was he even doing out there? You knew, couldn't swim. Didn't you? Conditions before. That's why. Are there. Thought he could. Not deep. Learning to. He's okay, right? Both voices sounded familiar to Tweek. His eyes flickered, round and round and round. He shivered more violently and then turned his body over automatically to vomit. It's okay, Tweek. You're okay. Tweek felt a calloused hand touch his exposed arm. He knew right away that was Kenny. Tweek kept vomiting. He felt something soft and tight being wrapped around him as he shivered. A blanket, perhaps? Keep him on his side, the other voice said. It was nasally, and the voice echoed, like it was distant and coming down a chamber. Tweek's head spun. Tweek, tell me your full name, the nasally voice asked. Tweek didn't open his eyes, but he slowed his reply, unsure whether it was just in his mind or whether he was actually coming out as an audible response. Tweek. No, full name, first and last name, the nasally voice asked again, sounding closer. Tweek didn't dare open his eyes. Tweek. No, I mean, first name and surname. Dude, hold up. That's his full name. That was Kenny's voice. The other voice sounded like, but it couldn't be. But he said his first name twice. No, his name is Tweek. Last name spelt with an EA and first name EE. Yes, his parents are that mental. Oh. A clearing of the throat. Can you tell me your birthday, Tweek? Tweek stretched his arm out. He felt sand between his fingers. Okay, so he was on the beach, alive, hopefully, and cold, so very cold, which he now verbalized. I'm cold, he groaned. He felt a blanket tighten around, that's meant to say him. Oh my God, my typos. And registered that the weights on him before were hands, because they now shifted to his chest and he felt more weight lean down on him. Can you tell me your birthday, Tweek? The nasally voice repeated. 12th of August, Tweek slowly groaned out. Kenny, I am dead, aren't I? I keep hearing Craig. Silence. Kenny spoke again. Who the fuck is Craig? Tweek felt warm and light wherever he was, blissful, happily disorientated. Kenny, the lifeguard, his name, Craig. Been speaking to him and I didn't. Tweek giggled. I keep hearing his voice and he giggled again. So hot. And he's nice, Kenny. He dropped his voice to a whisper, suddenly exhausted. He's nice. Silence again. Then he heard something that sounded like tutting, then silence again. Tweek, paramedics are coming. As Tweek concentrated on the weights on him and the shivering subsiding, he heard the ocean and the waves crashing on the shore. His vision became more red than black behind his eyelids. With his head feeling like it was constantly spinning, he didn't dare open them. He heard more snippets of conversation. Have insurance? Yeah, requirement for us even coming to Australia. Wallet, I can get. Tweek registered this voice as Kenny's again. He then felt himself being lifted and placed to lie down on something softer. Tweek, paramedics, hospital to be checked out. I'll come with. Kenny's voice again. Tweek just nodded. Movement, which made him hurl again. Someone was rubbing his back. He clutched onto a bag, which was thrusted into his hands to vomit into. More snippets of conversation. He felt he was moving and on a stretcher and felt wheels below him suddenly hit something hard. Observations, clearly hypothermia, tachycardic overnight. He felt something being placed on his finger. That's an oximeter to check oxygen levels. And a mask slipped over his mouth. A hissing noise. Right, an oxygen mask. Tweek's mind registered. Then he heard a voice he had not yet heard. Mr. Tucker, man your station. Incident report. This is serious. You can't just... The nasally voice retorted. Just check the victim was okay. I understand. I know. I'm sorry I left it unmanned. When I finish, I know. Tweek felt something really tight on his arm and suddenly felt himself being lifted up. Kenny's voice again. To the hospital? I can ride with him? Yeah, of course. Craig. Tweek whined. Silence. Then, Tweek, rest, mate. I am with you now, okay? The paramedics are taking you to hospital. Just rest. Beep, beep, beep. I sounded like a truck backing up, not an actual hospital. Jesus. I can't do sound effects. Sorry. Or voices. When Tweek came to again, the nausea had subsided, but his mouth felt as dry as the desert. He saw brightness under his eyelids. He was lying on something soft. Tweek was going to guess it was a bed. He let out, desperate to vocalize his confusion and his discomfort. Tweakers, buddy? Oh, I hope you're waking up. Kenny sounded hopeful but concerned. Kenny? Tweek opened his eyes and blinked a few times, allowing for the blurriness to subside. He was indeed in a hospital. A beige curtain was pulled most of the way around his bed. He looked at his left arm, which had an IV line running into it. Then he looked to his left and finally saw him. Kenny. He looked weary, and his sunburn that was healing had been freshened up. His cheeks and nose were bright red, and his hair looked damp and dull. He was in an orange singlet with board shorts and thongs, and was sitting on the edge of his chair. Tweek blinked a few times. Hey, buddy, how are you feeling? Good to see you back in the land of the living. Yeah. You really had me worried. Well, all of us, really. Who would have thought the sea would change so drastically and a wave would come in like that? Yeah. I wasn't far away with the life jacket, but I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. The way your body was thrown... Yeah! Kenny! I almost died, you son of a bitch! Tweek roared out with anger, not giving a damn if it was a 4-bed shared hospital bay. Kenny raised his hands in defence and opened his mouth, but Tweek continued. I told you I can't swim. I didn't want to. Tweek, Kenny held up a finger to his lips and his eyes flew open in warning. I don't care, man. If it wasn't for you... I know, okay? I am a shitty best friend. I shouldn't have left you out there on your own like that. I guess we have a lot to learn about water safety, huh? Tweek narrowed his eyes at Kenny, but he couldn't continue. His mouth was so dry. Water, he let out desperately. Kenny leapt to his feet suddenly and headed for the small table on wheels beside Tweek's bed and poured him a cup of water from a plastic jug sitting atop of it. Tweek drained it and Kenny refilled the cup. They're keeping you overnight, dude. They checked you haven't aspirated anything and they want to make sure your oxygen saturation stays normal. Your heart is all good. They did a brain scan to make sure there isn't any fluid there either. And you were pretty hypothermic when they brought you in. Tweek nodded and gazed at the IV bag. Oh, and fluids. That's why you're hooked up too. And they're still monitoring your heart. That's all the beeping. Telemetry. Right. You managed to come out of it pretty well from against the rocks. Just a couple of scrapes on your arm. They've bandaged you up. Tweek checked his arm and sure enough, there were a couple of padded bandages placed over some sore spots on his forearm. Tweek shuffled in the bed and gazed at the bright yellow lights on the ceiling. So, Craig, Kenny said finally and shot a smirk at Tweek. Sorry? Craig, the lifeguard, your hero. Tweek's brain kept turning over like a failed engine, but it wasn't starting. Kenny, what do you want about? Tweek said weakly. And how did he know his name was Craig? Kenny smiled. You don't remember anything that happened, do you? No, Tweek replied as a question, worried about the answer to come. Had he made a fool of himself again? Kenny chuckled. Oh, my dear sweet Tweek. Craig, our friendly lifeguard, was on duty today on the beach, right where the red and yellow flags were. He moved so fast, dude. Was like something off Baywatch. Anyway, he scooped you out and carried you onto the shore. Gave you the CPR. I helped as well as our supervisor. Like, you tire easily doing that shit. Anyway, Craig revived you. I swear he was prolonging the mouth-to-mouth, but I was so panicking, so I don't know. Craig stayed with you until you got into the ambulance, and he got in trouble by his boss staying so long. Talk about dedication. Kenny, he would probably do that for anyone. Are you sure it was Craig? Was he really there? I did think I heard his voice. Oh, you better believe you heard it, baby. His hands were all over you. Kenny, stop making it sound like more than what it was. He was saving my life. Tweek gazed at the ceiling again. Wow, it was Craig? The man that broke the water surface, the long arm and the large hand. Craig. Did that mean the hands he felt on him when he was coming to were Craig's? Tweek smiled. How could he ever thank him? Oh, and he chewed me out over the swimming lessons and letting you on the rocks. He was pretty cranky. He reckons you weren't ready, Kenny informed Tweek. Well, anyone with half a brain would tell you that, Kenny, Tweek grumbled. A nurse came around and checked on Tweek, offering him medication for pain and nausea. As Tweek was not experiencing any of these, she just took the observations and then went to get Tweek more water. Why didn't you tell me you were on speaking terms with Craig now, eh? I feel a bit insulted, Tweakers. He was acting like he's known you for ages and I'm just left out of the equation. Tweek rolled his eyes. Kenny, it's nothing, okay? This means nothing. I didn't want you to get overexcited and go seeing stuff that you think is there but isn't. But you're talking. Lifeguards don't just chat to everyone, Tweek. Was it the no shirt thing that got you over the line? No. Kenny looked past the curtain for a moment and smiled. Then he groaned and stood up. I'm going to go make some tea at the visitor station. I'll be back. Coffee? Tweek asked hopefully. Can you get me coffee, please, Kenny? Dude, it's 4:30 p.m. Please. Kenny smiled at him. I'll ask the nurse if you're allowed. Thanks, Kenny. Kenny seemed to be in a hurry for some reason. Tweek got cozy again and pulled the sheet and blanket up. Then he heard a clearing of a throat. Tweek jumped and looked at the end of the bed. Craig. He felt his heart still. Oh, and then it had jumped up into his throat. His pulse quickened, but not enough to set up the telemetry alarm. Tweek focused on his own breathing as he registered Craig's presence. Not only was he here, but it was strange to Tweek to see Craig outside of a beach setting. He was wearing enclosed sneakers, not McQueen Crocs. Oh my God. Board shorts and a navy short sleeve t-shirt. He had a backpack slung over his one shoulder. Tweek wondered for a wild moment whether he was delirious and hallucinating. Why would Craig be here? Gah! Tweek vocalized once his brain caught up with him. Craig? Hey, Tweek. Craig responded with a far lower, calm tone than Tweek's panicked greeting. Tweek looked around wildly. What are you doing here? Something wrong? Am I in trouble? Wait, are you in trouble? Kenny said you got busted, man. Hey, relax. It's okay. I came to see how you're doing. Tweek's eyes popped and he felt his mouth open. His heart was thudding. Really? Tweek looked at Kenny's vacant chair and gestured Craig to it. If you want? Craig smiled and nodded. He then promptly took Kenny's vacant seat. If this was a dream or some sort of hallucination, Tweek had nothing to worry about, right? Craig, did you really pull me out of the water? Kenny told me you did. I don't believe. Really? He laughed nervously and smiled. Craig returned a smile, looking a little proud. Yep, I was assigned to patrol those flags today. I saw your group arrive. I was watching you all, and I saw you on the rocks by yourself. I knew the conditions, so I kept my eye on you. And when the wave was coming for you, I got there as fast as I could. I wasn't sure if... He broke off and looked grave for a moment. Tweek felt the weight behind Craig's words and the significance of what Craig had been through on the other side of the interaction. He felt his eyes tear up. You saved my life, Tweek said quietly. I can't thank you enough for what you've done. You're amazing. Tweek felt his cheeks burn and saw Craig's tint a slight pink at Tweek's words. You don't need to thank me. It's my job, Craig responded seriously. Tweek sat forward a bit. Honestly, Craig, I would be dead if it wasn't for you. Dead, like gone. Gah. Kenny just left me out there. Tweek started to panic more. Did I really stop breathing? Craig's expression became stony. Yeah, you did. We worked on you for a while. Once I revived you, I wanted to kill your friend. Seriously? He knew better that you couldn't swim. He knew you couldn't swim. So irresponsible. Why did you go out there if you weren't comfortable? Kenny told me it would be okay. I shouldn't have trusted him. Craig, he's given me 2 lessons to swim, and all it's done is make me more anxious in the water. Last time he said I sucked at it. So I guess, I'm interested to see the ocean and in seeing the ocean and what's out there. So I thought I should just be brave. Craig shook his head. Kenny is relieved of his swimming teacher duties. How would you feel if I taught you how to swim instead? Tweek just gaped at Craig. Surely he misheard. I'm sorry, he inquired, making sure he heard correctly. Craig looked worried. You don't have to. It's probably the last thing you want to think about right now. He was backpedaling, and Tweek watched with a mixture of amusement and confusion. No, you saved me, Craig. You don't owe me anything else. Honestly, couldn't expect you to have time to do that or want to do that. You're busy. Craig smiled. I'm really not that busy. I just think maybe I could help. I used to teach some of the nippers to swim. Kids learning to beach swimming and activities. I have experience. We can go really slow, no pressure. When? And just let me know how much you charge. I'm keen to dump Kenny. Tweek gushed out. Swimming lessons with Craig? He was terrified, but who was he to refuse that offer? Sign him up and sign me up too. Ooh, ah. Oh, no, I wouldn't charge anything. I just want to help. Tweek felt his jaw hit the floor. There's no way someone's this nice. Gah, I can't accept that. Are you crazy? Craig smiled. I don't think so. But, Craig, how about this? Let's just try once. Public pool on Friday night. It's busy on the weekend and nights are quiet. We should have the place mostly to ourselves. If it's too soon, we can try next week. Tweek considered this, then nodded. Okay, but I'm really bad at swimming, Kenny said. I don't care what that numbnut said, Craig interrupted. He looked annoyed. It'll be different with me, okay? Okay, great. Craig seemed much happier now that Tweek had accepted. Then he glanced at Tweek's almost empty water cup and hurried over to refill it. How are you feeling? He asked gently as he poured the water. Tired, drained, embarrassed I caused such an ordeal. My chest hurts. Just rest. Your chest will be sore from the compressions we did. It will take time to feel 100% again. I hope work isn't expecting you tomorrow. Tweek chuckled. Good point. Guess I will have to be taking the day off if I'm being kept overnight. That reminds me. Craig reached into his backpack and pulled out a brown packet of what looked like biscuits. I got you these. You might have tried them already, but they are Tim Tams, chocolate biscuits. It's just a gesture. They might make you feel better if you like sweets. Tweek beamed. Could this guy be any nicer? I haven't. I love sweets. Craig, this is so kind of you. Thank you for everything, I mean. I don't know why you're so nice to me. This made Craig blush. They're just biscuits, he shrugged. And I guess you're pretty great. I think you're pretty great. Just wanted to make sure you were okay. Tweek couldn't get enough of how handsome Craig was. Those genuine kind look, oh my God, I can't fucking talk. Ugh. The genuine kind look in his eyes and his sweet smile. It was official. He was smitten. He gave Craig a meaningful look, trying to put every ounce of gratefulness he had for this man behind his next words. Thank you, Craig. That's kind of how... Sorry, I'm thinking of the episode where he thanks him, and I'm like, I don't think I did that right. Anyway, Craig smiled again. You're welcome. They shared a moment of smiling at each other before Kenny came bustling back holding 2 paper cups. You're in luck, Tweakers. Coffee is on the allowed list. Basically, I'm allowed to hook you up with any non-alcoholic beverage, he informed loudly, sliding the coffee onto the table beside Tweek. Tweek made a grabby hand to signal for Kenny to pass it to him, so he did very gently. Kenny put his cup down on the table and then his hands on his hips, surveying the scene in front of him. Good chat, swap stories, thank yous, and numbers. Tweek almost spat out his coffee in shock. He swallowed the scalding liquid quickly and coughed, his eyes watering. Kenny! Craig remained silent. He looked at Kenny with narrowed eyes. To Tweek, he seemed unsure of how to respond. I might go, Craig said, standing up. He smiled at Tweek and said quietly, get better. If you need anything, let me know. How? Tweek asked curiously, ignoring Kenny's smirk as he watched them talk. Look at the pack of biscuits carefully. See you. He waved and disappeared behind the curtain. Before Tweek could examine the packet, Kenny snatched it and inspected it. Kenny, fucking why do you always do this shit, man? Kenny held up a hand and just laughed. He wrote his number on the packet of biscuits in black marker. Oh, Tweakers, he's got it bad. Tweek clenched his fists and bit his tongue. Shut up, Kenny. He's just being nice. It's a packet of biscuits, for fuck's sake. Oh, except he just offered to teach me how to swim. Consider your ass off that project. Kenny looked like Christmas Day had come early. Ah, he's got game. Tweek, this is too delicious. I am happy to step aside and let our hero Craig take over. Now he will get you to see you shirtless. Kenny, I nearly drowned today. The man just saved my life. Yeah, so? Doesn't mean he doesn't want a piece of Kenny. The end of that chapter. Woo. Okay, so Tim Tams. Have we tried Tim Tams? I mean, they're really good. So this is our website for one of them for Australian supermarket, and I'm going to show you what we have. So this is why it's a brown packet. This is the original one, so you can get like a standard pack with, I think it's 11 biscuits, which is really rando, but you know, that's what you get. And then you've got the family pack. Let me just zoom in. So you get, what do you get? 20? Yeah, you get 20 of those. That's all right. This one's my favorite, the double chocolate one. Like, they're really, like, look at the cross section. Ready? Hang on. Oh, God damn it. See, it's all like, it's all like thick chocolate. It's really yum. You get 9 of those. Again, random number. Caramel's been around forever too. Choc mint, haven't tried that. The white chocolate is meh. It's like sickly sweet. Mangoes and cream, haven't tried that. They got gluten free now. They got dark, and they got these like fancy ones that I haven't tried. You know, like they're called deluxe. I don't know. They're more expensive, and I can't be bothered. And there's like they'd be Tweek's favorite. Look, cafe latte. I didn't even know they existed. There you go. There's a triple choc, haven't tried those. And there's a Jats version. So I don't know if you have Jats overseas, but there's like, they're like salty biscuits. So if you zoom in, I'm starting to get the shits. Okay, that's the Jats biscuit thing. And then you can buy these individually wrapped ones, which I don't know why you'd bother. But you get 150 of them. I mean, I don't know if you did the calculation, if that's good value, but I mean, I can't be bothered running the math. Yes, that's Tim Tams, and that's the chapter. And I guess see you next time. Bye.